G'day, mate. What's your name?
My name is Gerard Thomas Patrick McGowan.
Oh, Jesus, that's an Irish name.
Yeah.
And what do you do, Gerard?
I do a lot of things. I do comedy and I'm a carpenter during the day. So yeah, those jobs.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Crowdworkcast. My name's Andrew Barnett. Thanks so much for joining me. Another great episode for you this week with Gerard McGowan. Gerard is a comedian, a carpenter, and one of the hosts of The Mug Off, which is probably one of the most successful podcasts in Australia, certainly one of the most successful comedy podcasts. It's a fantastic listen, so check that out. You can follow Gerard on Instagram. He is Gerard M Comedy. He's not touring at the moment because, we recorded this a couple of weeks ago. So by the time you hear this, there's a good chance he'll be a brand new dad. He's laying low for a bit, dealing with that, having a good time. So enjoy this chat. This is me with Gerard. I've got nothing really to promote this week. So let's just rip into it.
Comedy and carpenter. So you are one of the few comedians who has
Not on a cruise ship.
has a tangible skill.
I'd say surviving a cruise ship is a tangible skill. I know a lot of people that have freaked out. And
Do you reckon would you ever do cruise ships, you reckon?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I was going to say, because I don't want to sound the wrong way, but you'd be fine to do them. Like you're
retarded.
No.
That's what you're saying. No, that's the subtext.
Your comedy is it's not sometimes there's people that you just look and you hear horror stories about people that went on did cruise comedy on a cruise ship, but you're like, oh yeah, no, your thing is too specific. You need to be able to what I like about you is you're very good at being able to adjust to any different audience and go to any room. You're not one of these comedians who goes, no, you have to get on board with exactly what I'm doing the way I'm doing it. You want to make whoever's in the room laugh, not...
I'm generally trying to get laughs.
Yeah. Yes.
That would be if I had one weakness, it would be I'm generally trying to get laughs.
Which isn't the worst weakness to have as a comedian. Man, so... do you see yourself that way? Are you one of these guys? Because I don't know, there's a few guys, I describe it this way, common friend of ours, Mickey D, right? He's one of the guys that I say, if you said to me, gun to my head, there's a room full of people in there, you got to send someone in, you don't know anything about the people in there, but you got to send someone in to get them to laugh, otherwise you're dead.
I bet everything I owed on him.
Yeah. That's the kind of...
It wouldn't be me. I'd send him in over me.
But that's the kind of... same, but that's the kind... Just for me, but that's the kind of comedian I kind of, aimed to be when I started. I did want to be able to do... part of it, the thing for me was I wanted to be able to go into any room and work it out.
Yeah.
Is that your thing, do you reckon, or do you...
Nah.
I'm getting less like that as I go on, but...
I think I'm always just doing whatever I'm doing. And then I think as long as I'm getting better, if I could look back and be like, all right, well, I think these jokes are better than the ones that were last year, then I'm generally pretty happy with it. I probably would be more into the process and the results. So as long as I'm doing something that I think's interesting or funny, even if it's not working, but I'm like, I'm deep enough in now that I can pretty much, if I have an idea, I can probably get it to 60, 70%. And then if it's not going to play after that, then it's like, all right, it's not working. But I'm just kind of doing whatever I'm doing. I think I'm kind of a bit zen like that. I'm not trying to be because I remember I was chatting to Eric about this because he was telling me he would have real rough sets at Manly Boat Shed. And then when he figured that, which is an old comedy room, I think it might be gone now. I don't know.
I don't think. it was gone then back, but I think it's gone again.
Yeah, so it was hard. It was always like really hard. But Eric said once he figured out that he figured out how to do really well there, and then he started going, oh man, I don't want to be the type of person that's doing really well for these animals.
That's funny because I look at that. It's similar to the way people now like it's like, but the amount of times people tell me, oh, you find an online hook, you could be doing this, you could be doing that, you could be doing this, and then you look at some of the like, it's a bit of awareness that I think you don't have when you first start, where you realise that you don't want to necessarily you want to be able to build an audience and play to the people, but you don't want to build an audience that come along but don't want to see you doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you build the wrong audience for you, like you see people now, I've heard a few stories about people who've built audiences online, like through TikTok or whatever, and then sell out a nice chunk of shows at like a festival or something, and then come back going, oh, they didn't. They didn't seem to want my stand-up.
Dan Rosario told me that. He was a TikTok dude. Have you met him?
Oh, yeah.
He rules.
No, I haven't met him.
He's the coolest dude ever. But he was saying because he's like big on TikTok, and he was like doing like characters about like, Western suburbs drug dealers or whatever. And he said like he was selling out like 150 seats a night, but then just getting people screaming at him like, shelve a pill, like just yelling. And he goes, it's untenable. Like he's like, I just doesn't even use it anymore, I don't think.
That's that is the double-edged sword. You don't want to build an audience that you end up hating.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take any audience at the moment.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I'll worry about that if it comes.
Just give me a chance to hate an audience.
But I do think that because like I think you should try and be kind of happy wherever you're at, because you're never better than when you're anonymous anyway. Like when no one knows you is like probably when you're at the peak of your skills. Like if you look at any other act, like some people do grow, but like when everyone's like first comedy album's their best. Like when no one knows you is when you're the best, I think.
You said something to me. I think about it probably once a week. I remember you talking about, I forget who you were talking about, where you said they had the perfect level of fame where they could...
Kurt Vile.
Vile.
That's the example I use all the time, is Kurt Vile.
Yeah, where you can play to your own audience, but
he plays the M more, and he would walk around mostly anonymous.
Yeah.
The dream.
That is...
He can just go anywhere. If you know him, you'd be like, that's Kurt Vile, but mostly he just looks like a guy with long hair that just be walking around.
Which is...
perfect.
Yeah, until you sort of said that, I hadn't given that a whole lot of thought.
Yeah.
And then I still reckon I think about that once a week going, that is the exact amount of...
But like, we know real famous people and their lives are fucked. Like I don't know, like, I had a few big mates that are like, on the project and shit, and then they're getting stopped at the fucking supermarket, and I was like, that doesn't look like fun.
No.
It looks shit. Like having people bug you and stuff, and I don't know. I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's for me. I'm not built for that.
That's probably one of the areas of cruise ship comedy that you wouldn't enjoy. I remember doing one years ago. I did one with, I think the first one I ever did was with Mickey D.
Yeah.
Which was
my favourite comedian.
Yes, my favourite comedian. It was just an absolute champion. But he is like a people person.
Yeah.
Right. So we'd do the shows, and like my instinct would be just to keep my head down, not very low profile, avoid doing it. But he was just out, like if people come up to talk to him, he'd just talk to whoever. Like people would talk in line, like he'd be chatting in line at the buffet and whatever. And it actually made me go, okay, if this is the situation you're in, I think his is a more fun way to deal with it rather than being scared of every other person on the boat. But it was a real different approach to what my natural instinct is, because my natural instinct is just to head down, try not to be noticed.
Yeah, same. And I'll walk away from anyone that's trying to give me a compliment. It's not really my vibe. But I don't know. Good for him, but I don't really think that's my natural state, I think.
Oh, mate.
I would be polite or whatever, but I don't think I wouldn't be like, fuck you, fuck your friend. But I don't know if
not standoffish, but not also... Like, Mickey was happy to chat. Like, I remember it was there was a guy with this was an interesting cruise. There was a guy with a Richmond Tigers tattoo, and it was the year Richmond must have beaten Adelaide because Mickey's a big
The
Adelaide
Crows,
fan.
yeah.
And this guy's just giving it to Mickey, and he's like, and taking it. I was just like, oh man, this is like a level of tolerance that I wouldn't. But then Mickey was happy to sit and talk, mid-season games with the guy for a bit, and the guy ended up walking away just going, oh, this great chat.
Who's touching him?
What you at the start? He's touching him. I love that.
Not having that.
That's the bit you picked up on.
Nah, fuck that.
Singlet. He was wearing a singlet. Had Richmond Tigers tattoo right there on his arm.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like you spent a lot of deep philosophical time thinking about life and.
Well, that was the cruise So I got told there was you do what with that one. You do the back end of one cruise. So we got on in out in the Pacific on one of the islands.
Yeah.
And we came back to Sydney, and then the passengers all get off. They finish that cruise, and then you do the first half of the next cruise. It goes back out to the islands, right? So we, when that first cruise got off, there was a real different vibe in the passengers. And talking to the crew, they said it's the cheapest cruise of the year. It's the one when forget what it is. I think it's September, after the September school holidays, when all the schools have gone back. And so in every state. So there's no more family holiday, mate, like that general peak thing. And then there's a real lull between when it picks up before Christmas again. So this cruise is known as it's the discount cruise. And man, I was like looking around.
Do your rates go down for this?
No, my rates didn't. But I'm like, this passenger group's a bit different.
You get paid more if they put on more fucking mongoloids on the boat.
That was when I was walking through, and literally there was a guy in the casino playing at the roulette table with in footy shorts and no shoes, like not even thongs. And I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
But
carpet.
Yeah, but like RSL. Club carpet. You know what I mean? Like it's carpet. A lot of drinks have been spilled on that carpet.
Man, I know a mate of mine, his missus she was a dancer on cruise ships, which is I guess another type of performer on there. And she's got some fucking crazy. Or they met actually because he was a personal trainer on the boat and she was a dancer. And he told me people would get killed and so all this crazy shit. I don't know if any of it's true, but he said that one time he went in the kitchen and it was a giant fight and there was blood everywhere. And someone had gone at someone with a knife because they had I don't know. How do I say without getting anyone in trouble? I think they had picked up some gentlemen to work in there that maybe had questionable visas or places they were from and maybe were trying to escape some shit they had done. And so they kicked off. They've done some bad shit. He reckons, been killed. And then the next day, it was all clean. Someone had just disappeared. And I was like, what happened? They're just I think they just threw him over the boat. That's what he reckons.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't see anything like that. But that's insane. Yeah. I found the cruises interesting. Funny thing though, all the different performers and that, comedians will whinge about the conditions on the ships, but by far we get treated the best out of everyone in terms of those dancers and that they have on the work so much more, so much harder. Everyone else is doing multiple shows a day, and on the busiest line that you maybe have to do 2 half-hour shows in a night.
Was it Woodland who locked himself out of his room on a cruise ship?
I don't know.
I remember, I think he told me some hectic story. had a few drinks, I believe. May have been in his undies, locked out of his own room.
That doesn't sound like the Sean Woodland.
I'll check the story before it goes to air, but I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So when did you you started comedy? When did you start comedy? Because I feel like you've been doing a while.
11th year, be 12 in September. Yeah, 11th year.
So what did you just always love comedy growing up, or what?
Yeah, was I had a mate who had Foxtel, because I didn't, but I would go when we were there on weekends. I think Saturday Night Live would be on, and we'd like watch it or reruns or something. And I was like obsessed with Norm Macdonald. I was like, this is the funniest guy ever.
Oh,
And then I actually wrote that I got interviewed by like fucking Time Out, one of these shit street press fucking things for Melbourne one year when I was down there, and they said, who's your favourite comedian? I said, Norm Macdonald. And the lady was like, oh yeah, oh okay. And then I saw when it went to print, she said, my favourite comedian was Ronald McDonald. She didn't even fucking, which is insane. Why wouldn't you even like, even if it was Ronald McDonald, wouldn't you have a follow-up question? Like, well, what about Ronald McDonald do you think is...
Do you think he's a comedian?
He's a clown. He's just a wrangler of burger people or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh, my favourite musician is Grimace. So like, she must have thought I was like insane.
No, I have zero follow-up questions. You'd think too, as a journalist, you're
She's getting paid like $8 an hour. It's like, she's...
Yeah, but surely to get into that, the one requirement to be a journalist or someone who interviews is just the slightest bit of curiosity.
Yeah. No.
To have absolutely
Just
no
everything
follow-up.
on face value, just like, oh, Ronald McDonald, yeah, it just went, oh, yeah, like just, yeah, and I went to print, I'm like, man, anyone who reads this is going to think I'm a fucking idiot. Why would you come to this show with a guy whose favourite comedian is Ronald McDonald?
just sitting there going, geez, I hope he does some balloon animals.
Yeah, fuck, it's so stupid.
And I bet you at the time you thought that interview, I mean, because especially, when you're doing those festival interviews.
Man.
So you think it's important, you think it's going to make a difference. Or
You could literally, like, if you went on a killing spree, you couldn't find one person that had read that ever. That the day it came out, if I just went around, held people at gunpoint, no one would be able to tell. Like, it's all just such horseshit,
Oh,
You just don't know.
no, that's all part of the
Fucking revolving Melbourne scam.
Are you doing any festivals this year?
Not this year. I did a Cooper's last year, and that was sick. That's a great venue. They really run it right around there. They don't charge too much. They take care of their acts. It's just a cool place. It's a great space. Like, both rooms are awesome. So I'll do that probably forever. But, like, as much as I can till I say something fucked and they send me to Cancel Island or whatever. But in terms of like doing Melbourne, never again. No way. Not like through a festival managed venue or anything. No thanks. I'm good. I get like a small amount of people that come see me. Like, and as long as I can just kind of keep growing that, I'll be happy or whatever. I'm not doing festivals this year because I got a baby due, but I'll probably be going every year after that. I'm just kind of doing that. But then, I don't know, I'm a bit funny. I like my home life. Like, I have a good home life. So I don't like being away for like months at a time. Like, I'd only do 2 weeks in Melbourne unless I was selling so many tickets I had to stay. I probably wouldn't stay.
Unless it's your primary like income, like it makes a big chunk of your income for the year, then you probably, Like, I feel the same way. 2 weeks is probably a good amount of time to do in Melbourne unless you're really... but even now...
Unless you're printing money or whatever.
Yeah, but even now, a lot of the bigger names who do sell a lot of tickets don't do as...
I think that's changing now. Well, it's all like... I don't know. It's just changing. Things are getting more fragmented. I love it. It's like... I don't think there'll be another, like, huge star. I don't think there'll be another Will Anderson or Dave Hughes ever again. I really believe that it's all, like... Everything's all fragmented out now. Chen might be the last one.
Yeah, I tend to think that I've got a theory that at the moment we're going to go through a phase where there's a bunch of people who are big for like 3 years and then we never hear from them again. Like, they get big off
that's already happened to a bunch of people, bud.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be the like a phase we just see for the next bit. Like, just the people selling theatres, you'll see them, they'll be able to do it 3 years in a row, and then the next, like, it'll just be, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that we're going to get another Carl Barron who can...
Well, it's, he was big when there was 4 channels. Yeah. And there was no real, like, the internet would have been early days, no YouTube and stuff, like... Yeah, I don't know, it's funny,
But he still sells tickets like crazy.
Yeah, those people are all still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was the best of his generation. So, like, why would you not?
Yeah.
It's like, if you go see him, you're not going to be disappointed. He's going to be fucking awesome. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think, I think media is like fracturing out. So it'll be like good. Instead of like being like 3 big cups, it'll be like 14, all full, the smaller ones or whatever. That's how I see it going anyway.
Which for a guy who's...
Because things don't mean as much anymore. Like you get like, you see people with like, you get like, oh, I got a clip with 1 million views and they have like 800 Instagram followers. So it's like the metrics of like what matters, it's not like correlated,
Yeah, I don't think...
And then there's people like fucking, I have friends that are on TV like every night and just, they're not selling any more tickets now than they were 2 years ago or something, so I don't know.
I was actually talking to Sam Taunton recently.
Yeah.
And we were
That's
talking
what I was
about
talking about,
this
yeah.
exact thing. It's funny because we were in the same sort of boat. Like when I was at Fox, I did Fox for a few years and we were on all the time. And it used to get a lot of people say, oh yeah, I saw you on TV or whatever, because they just see it with the sound down in the pub wherever they were. But it never made
a big
difference,
yeah.
I don't think. Like not to selling tickets, it was sort of weird. Like I remember I literally, when I was 1 year, I was doing Sydney Comedy Festival, and like when right in the middle of it, I was doing the rugby league show, we'd done the cricket show, I was still doing Sunday nights with Matty John, so I was on TV like for
lot,
Fox,
yeah.
I was on a lot. And then I remember on the Sunday night, walking to my show at the Enmore, like the Wildflower Lounge, like the wine bar thing, which is like, it's 100-seater or something.
Yeah.
And
room.
that on the Sunday night, it wasn't sold out. Like it was fine, but not sold out. And I remember like I got stopped by 2 different blokes on the street going, Barney, what are you doing? And I'd say, I'm just going to do my comedy. Oh, good luck. Like no thought that they'd come and see it. And it's just like, I'm like, oh, I don't know that the people enjoying it. Because when you think about it too, the people watching TV at home are at home.
Yeah. I mean, who watches TV? I don't. Like, I got like Netflix and shit, but I can't remember the last time I fucking threw on Channel 7 or something. I had no idea. And then if you're like 10 years younger than me, even like no chance,
Man, like, yeah, YouTube is for younger, like for my kids and that, they watch so much on YouTube or whatever they find now, and then they'll watch Netflix, and then still remember when you're a kid and like it was like, turn the TV off, go read a book, go do something else.
Yeah.
It's got to the point now where I'm just like, just one screen at a time.
Wow.
Like it is like my kids are pretty good with it. Like we're pretty good with keeping them off their phones and stuff. They're not anywhere near as like as into their phones as some of their friends or kids that I see. But it's insane now how much information they're getting all the time.
Fuck.
Yeah. So are you looking forward to being a dad, mate?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I was looking at Mon's sister. She's got 4 kids, and they watch TV, but they don't have any screens or anything, and they're so much more fun. They just want to play games and run around. Like you take them to a restaurant, look, they do move around, and they but they're like happy and kind of, they're just alive. But then we were at like a pub or something with them, and the table next to us just had I think a 2-year-old just like staring at a phone like that, and just completely didn't make a movement, like no eye movement, nothing, just forward like that. And then I had someone else tell me their kid, I think it was like 3 or 4, and they're like, yeah, he just forgets to even go to the bathroom when he's watching screens. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And I'm like, take him off the fucking screen.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? He's just like pissing his pants watching like Zombified. I'm like, well, I don't want that.
It's not good. Like, so, and like I said, my kids aren't terrible.
Young,
like, mine are teenagers now, and they need their, like, so they've got phones because they need them for school and stuff. But we're big on like, not in your, you don't take your phone to your room. You don't like if we're sitting watching TV, your phone's away. You're not looking at it. But they'll but even then, like I'll go down and but so much of it's like they've got to watch. Like even half their school stuff, they're watching something on YouTube for school.
I mean, uni was like that when I was there, like 5 years ago. Yeah. I didn't go to I went to like 2 lectures ever, and the rest is like they'd film it and then Like,
it
why
on.
the fuck would I go
That's
into the class if I don't have to, you know?
You're still paying full price though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fucking,
not bad.
yeah, great way to fucking be 40 grand in debt.
Oh. What was the uni degree?
Was it a Bachelor of, is it Media Arts and Production?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, now I couldn't even use any of this shit. No, I can edit and, like, all that stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say it was a waste because, like, I was exposed to a lot of stuff I didn't know about, like books and movies and stuff. And I was like, that was good. I don't know if it was worth 40 grand, but it's worth something.
Yeah, and that's well, I think with any of those sort of things, like okay, it might not be worth 40, depending what you like. I sometimes like when you look at stuff too transactionally, like okay, you invested 40 grand here. What is you like if you look at it like an accountant? How do you recover that 40 grand?
Do you know what it was good for? I was living in Chippendale with like Sam Campbell, and it gave me a lot of time to do stand-up because I only did like 2 subjects, and stand-up takes ages to get good at. But I would just, because I was in the city, I could pretty much walk to any gig. I'd just gig a lot, all the fucking time, and I got like a lot better, probably a lot quicker than other people because I could, and it was really good for that. 2 subjects at uni is fuck all. Like if you can't do that,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, but you know, it's easy. And then I was just like, I remember there was like one year I did a tax return, and I was getting like a student allowance which just covered my rent, and then I had like $30 left over to eat. And then there was like a gig in Balmain that the guy liked, me and Sam, so we would nearly do it every week. I think I would host, he would headline, or I'd do a spot. And you got $75 and free dinner. And then we would just do it like every week. So we like that was dinner sorted for that night. And then I did my tax return for that year, and I think I made like $18,000, including the fucking student allowance. And I was like, and I was getting paid cash for some gigs, but I was like, how the fuck did I live? It's just like I don't know how I did it, but I never remember thinking I was like starving or anything. Like
it's funny like that because like if you looked now, like the money you bring in now with all your work, and you gave it to that guy, he would have thought like far out.
We're millionaires.
But I sometimes look at that and
that's a lot of mee goreng dinners and stuff, but like kind of like lean shit.
But it's funny how like I've never felt like I've had never felt like you just go, oh yeah, I don't like I couldn't do with more money. Like it's funny how you just sort of like the fish grows to the size of the tank.
And, you know, that's why we got to have this war in Ukraine, you know. These guys need to sell these fucking weapons.
Oh, isn't that? Yeah. But no, it's funny like that. Like you just sort of like if you had to go back now to 18 grand a year.
Yeah, I was acutely aware that it was a good time because I think some people are like they'd be like, oh, you know, float. But I was like, this is a good time in life right now, having no money but getting to do what I want.
But sort of your responsibilities, like it's no money but freedom.
So much, you know, like it was great.
And that's the early years of stand up too, which are I think too like it's good to like if you can appreciate those learn, especially where you like you said, the anonymity of being able to go, like when you start out, being able to go somewhere, take a big swing.
Yeah.
And it sort of doesn't matter because it's not like no one knows. Yeah, it's just sort of gone, and you get to. I don't know. I got a bit of nostalgia too for some of the because
I felt like I wrote way more jokes back then too. Now I write less, but they work more.
Yeah.
But back then I would write like so much. I have so many ideas, and like most of them were shit, but I just had more.
But do you reckon that's like those like now you filter out the shit ideas like before you start spending any time on them, or do you think that's?
I have no idea, to be honest. Some would just stick in my head, but I just feel like I had more ideas because I'd be like, oh yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. It's interesting. Haven't thought about it. One or the other. But I have plenty of bad ideas now too, you know. It's not like that went away.
I've got a bit of nostalgia for that because I think I remember early Gerard, because you weren't that. You're you didn't start that much after me.
So who's your generation? Crookshank.
Crookshank was just bit before me. Heggie and I pretty much exactly the same.
So is
time.
that Kappa?
Kappa, yeah. So that Heggie.
Yeah, there were like 8
Crookshank.
comedians back then.
Yeah.
Because when I started, there was like 20.
When I started, my first ever gig was at Mic in Hand.
Yeah.
And I was just like, which then you sort of, there was always a headliner, but it was like, there was no sign up open spot. Like you had to email.
Yeah, there wasn't when I started either.
And then get booked. And then it took me 2 years to get back on there.
Oh, fuck.
And just email, because that was hard to get booked there. And that was.
Yeah, that was like I always say that, because I remember going to watch, because my buddy Seamus McCallery, he would get on there, and he kind of got me into it and like helped me out like so much.
He's so funny.
He's so sick, man. He's the best dude ever and super funny. But he had he took me there, and it was like a fucking Rage Against the Machine concert. Like the people sitting on the floor, every available space was completely full with someone. All the way around the corner was stacked with people watching a screen of the show. It was nuts. It was like so electric.
Yeah.
It was just, I was like, fuck, this is crazy. And I remember thinking, because you know that they have like 2 open spots, like 2 kind of super new or never done it before, and then, you know, be like a Kappa yourself, and then a good headliner. And I remember seeing someone who was really bad, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to do better than that. If I can just do better than that, I think I can kind of, I still do that now. Sometimes I'll get booked for a gig, and if like, it's a good way to kind of get you into it, whereas I'll just find someone I think sucks that's already done it.
And like, that's what you always ask me. You done this?
Yeah, I do. But I'll just be like, well, I think I can do better than that. But like, you know,
yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah, so I don't get intimidated by it.
Wow, yeah, that room was that. I remember those days that you was just heaving, and then there was like cafe lounge, and I don't know if we've got as many of those sort of rooms where, you know, there was just that place you could go up, you knew it was going to be full, you knew it was going to be like.
Yeah, it's probably not, but then like, you know, there's still like Happies and like places, you know, they're going to be good. The store's
great, yeah. I hosted Raw Comedy there last night.
Oh yeah.
And it was surprised, like not surprised, I shouldn't say surprisingly, but it was like a pretty strong heat. And I was like, because the first time, I should say the last time I ever hosted Raw. Have you hosted Raw?
Yeah, only once. Is it Melbourne still book it, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's probably not going to happen.
But I think they are.
I had a meltdown there a few years ago at like one of those shows, and I think they all hate me now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like paying 10 grand for a venue for a month or whatever, and I was just over it. And then I got booked for the late night whatever, and then just like flipped on stage and like, fuck this place, fuck everyone, I'm never coming back here, suck me off.
Yes.
Like, so yeah.
God, I wish I was there for that.
Yeah, it got some big laughs. Because I don't know, it's just like at the end of my fucking rope.
Yeah, like, I did it a couple of years ago, and like it was like the show, like I was really happy with the show, and you know, it went fine, but like it was like, yeah, I didn't feel like I didn't get any of those late nights, didn't get any of the thing, and I'm pretty sure no one, I don't know if anyone ever came to my show from the festival or anything like that. So it was like okay, this is fine, but I don't know. I don't think I'll ever do the full month again.
No, fuck that.
But yeah, so I kind of went into last night thinking, you know, usually there's at least one renegade.
Yeah.
You get one lunatic who's saying some wild stuff.
Well, they say like any good comedian ruins a generation of comedians. Like when Bill Hicks, it's like a bunch of guys, fucking leather jackets, smoking cigarettes on stage. And I think Jim Jeffries has done that to a lot of middle-aged men that are just like, I'm going to do comedy, and they just say like fucking real, you know, I don't know, anti-woke, crook, what's the word I'm looking for? Like misogynist. They'll say like some crazy misogynist thing without any cleverness, without any, just be like, fucking, and then.
Yeah, the people that take just one tiny aspect of what Jim Jeffries is doing, which...
What he's doing is hard.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying this, but like in a way that's smart and clever, and then makes you go, oh, fuck, I agree. But when they just go there, be like, these fucking women, blah blah blah.
Bill
and
Burr's done a bit of that too, I think, to some of that. With
Yeah,
his
you know,
thing of just naming a premise that you're like, oh, I don't know who's
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
on board with this, and then by the end of it, you're laughing.
Mm,
That's so hard to do.
yeah. Oh,
But-
totally.
Yeah. You get those.
It's like trying to play on level 10. It's like you're at level
Yeah.
1. I remember I hosted one on Valentine's Day where they had, like, just happened to be Valentine's Day, and literally everyone in Raw was doing jokes about Valentine's Day. And I was like, what is happening? Shouldn't you be prepared, like, whatever you're going to say
Ages
before
ago.
today? Or did you get this date and we're like, here we go? No,
Mate,
like,
I literally got last night. So one of the people that was on was like, it was her first ever gig, and she goes, yeah, I prepared last night. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, they only told me yesterday that I was on this heat, and I'm like, oh my god. And then so I was like, because you know you just sort of back announce, you stay behind the curtain just to keep things rolling.
Yeah.
But if you need to go,
it's a long night, yeah.
if you need to go back out and sort of reset the mood, if someone really
I never do
shits the
that, but
bed.
yeah.
Well, I did it. I didn't have to do it last night. I was like, she just went out and crushed, and I'm like, holy shit, this is
Sick.
from last night.
Yeah.
That is amazing. She didn't. She went just a little too like. She basically should have got off on her second to last bit. Her last bit was really short, but it wasn't as strong as what. So if
Yeah,
she got
yeah.
off one bit before, she would have just been. It would have been one of the best first time sets I've
Wow.
ever heard.
Did
But,
she go through?
No.
That sucks.
Yeah. Well, it was a strong heat. It was like a real, like I was like, they're going, oh, the judges. And that poor Ben Caution had to go do the feature spot. So for people listening, what happens is the competition, there's like, I think there was 20 comics last night. So they all do 5 minutes. And then the judges at the end go out and deliberate. But to keep the audience while that's happening, they always have a feature act come on and just do time.
Yeah.
And they have to do an indefinite amount of time. To however long the judges are going.
Fuck.
So last night, Ben Caution, I heard him from stage go, 10 minutes? Really? Is that how long it takes?
Ben rules.
He crushed though. He absolutely crushed. But yeah, so last time I did a Valentine's Day Raw one too. And I was just sitting backstage at that mic, and I was talking to the guy that was going on next. He was real nervous. I'm like, you're going to take, like, he goes, oh, so just go through that. So, yeah. So he'll come off, just let him move past you. I'll say your name, just head straight out there. I said, you're going to take the mic out of the stand? He goes, yeah. I said, so just take it straight out, put it to the side, and then just start. That's all you got to do, just start. He goes, okay. And just as I finished saying that, I tune into what's going on the stage, and I hear the guy on stage go, all I'm saying, ladies, is if you want a ring, hit your fucking knees.
Oh.
I was just like,
He's speaking the truth.
yeah. And I heard that, and then I just hear the crowd, and I'm like, just scrap what I said, mate. I'm going to have to go fix this before.
And
that
that
was-
was good. I should get down and watch. I used to like watching one.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was a good group last night. It was
Yeah.
funny though, because I was backstage, and I was like, I went back in the first lot of standing back there, and I sort of introduced myself to a bunch I hadn't met. And I said, does anyone like new to comedy or been doing it a while? One of the guys had been going 6 years.
Wow.
And I'm like 6 years?
But then 2 of them are COVID years, so
Yeah, but that's still like 4.
it's a lot for Raw, yeah.
4 foot. But that's where you realise too, like he's been going 6 years in Sydney only. I've lived in Sydney that whole time, been doing gigs that whole time and never come across him.
Yeah.
He's just
You know,
shows how many open mics. are
Aaron
there right
Gox
now.
did like 8 Raws.
Did he?
Yeah. He just kept going.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's sick.
Oh, did you do Raw?
Yeah, I did. I was state finalist twice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then that was it. I think the first time I made it to the semis, and then the second time state finalist, third time state finalist. But yeah, well, I was happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I think I did I made state finalist my first year. The second year I wasn't going to do it, and then I got like a late, hey, do you want to do this?
Mm.
And then I went in and didn't make it out of my heat. I was
Yeah.
like, I probably won't do this again.
Yeah, I crushed everyone basically.
Man, I made it to state final and got crushed by Heggie.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck. Kappa's got a funny story about that.
Yeah. Well, it was the same night. It was
Yeah.
good. That was a good group. Like there's like Hing was in there, Crookshank, Kappa. Like a lot of people are still doing it,
Yeah.
which is sort of. You think about the people you've seen come and go.
Oh, it's like Highlander. Everyone that drops out, I get stronger.
Man, I did a gig with Joe Camino the other day. You
Oh, I
remember
love Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, and he brought up. Did you remember Sasha Marks?
I can't remember the name.
Used to do Star Bar.
Do you know what I saw the other night?
Who?
Russell, the dude that did the astronaut fighting bit. I saw him at an open mic.
And the sex robot thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, fuck. It was like traveling back in time. Whatever.
wow.
Yeah. At Scruffy Murphy's open mic.
And he's
The worst gig I've ever done, I think.
oh really?
Yeah.
Just getting those bad gigs in before the kid arrives and you.
Yeah. It was truly humbling.
That's so yeah, but that's one of the things I think like when you were in that early stage, like having like the conscious mind to go, I'm enjoying this now and enjoying because that's when you meet the most it's interesting characters in stand up. Like most of your like stories about encountering lunatics, or most of my stories about encountering lunatics happened in that first 4 or 5 years where you just end up at you end up because you're all new, end up at gigs where the bar's low to get in, and then they're not really filtering out crazy people.
Yeah, it's funny because when you start out, you don't know that there's a lot of people doing it that are like legitimately insane. Because I was just coming from being in the country, and then you're in the city, and then you're just working. So you don't like meet that many crazies like in life. And then I remember I was at a Raw Heat the first time I ever went there. It was my first ever gig or second. I think it was second. And there was some lady there, and she was just talking about how she goes, "Oh, I'm such a big deal. You know, I shouldn't even really be doing this." And I sell out shows all in Newcastle. And I don't know. Like, I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, that sounds awesome, you know? Like, oh, you know, it's my second time, whatever. Just, and then she's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I bothered to do this. I'll probably win it. Like, all this just hectic fucking talk. And the only thing that tipped me at the very end that I was like, I think this might be a ruse, was she goes, I'm just not sure what wig I'm going to wear tonight. And then like she had a bag of wigs, and I'm like, oh, you're just nuts.
Yeah,
You're just like completely crazy.
That's yeah. I remember being in the sitting watching. You remember Comedy on the Rocks at the Roxbury Hotel?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
competition. So I was sitting one night with the mate when we were in I think it must have been in the second row, but there was no one in the front row.
Yeah.
And guy on stage, he's got a beer in one hand, microphone in the other, and he just looks and he goes, "Oh no, I need to scratch my nose." And then he goes, "Can you hold this?" And he hands me the beer. Scratches his nose. Takes it back. Like chair, he could have sat it down anywhere. Could have.
Yeah.
And it was like
Paralyzed with fear.
and I remember afterwards, my mate he was like because he was talking about some wild shit.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, you just look in the eyes and you're like, oh, you're not quite here, but you're somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's not a good place. And
I mean, no barrier for entry. This is what you get, you know?
yeah. And that's what my mate goes to me. I almost said to you, don't hand it back. I reckon he's going to glass someone with that.
Wow.
Like it was genuinely like
Scary.
But, you know, good times early.
Do you ever think about the amount of venues that you know about just because you've done comedy there? Like all these different bars, and I'll be like, I've been there. They had a night for a month. These places I never would have gone.
I feel like now driving around with like I remember when I was a kid, because we were in the country coming to Sydney, and we'd drive around like, you know, the area, like around Sydney, parts where my father grew up, and he used to point out cricket grounds he'd played at.
Yeah.
And it was just he'd just go, oh yeah, played cricket, oh yeah, scored 70 there one day. Like, you know, he'd just...
Yeah.
But now I feel like that with bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I bombed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just strange places where you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, there.
Scruffy Murphy's, yeah, I performed on a pallet there one night to 7 people and walked 2 of them.
I got punched in the head there pretty hard when I was younger.
Oh, really?
And I was actually impressed with the system they had set up because there were so many fights there that they had a pretty good system where
That's never a good sign for a
yeah,
venue.
but it was really rough. Like it was all upstairs. Well, my memory was I did get hit that night, so I don't know. But I had
I feel like, sorry, before you go, I feel like, you know how McDonald's pride themselves on efficiency, 1 billion customers served. Like, this is, 1 billion customers punched.
Well,
We've
this
got a
was
system.
the way they did it was brilliant because like one of my friends, I think, was chatting to some girl who I guess was dating one of these dudes, and then he punched him. Someone punched one of their friends, and then one of them punched him. It all happened. I didn't even know what happened. Like it all happened pretty quick. And then the security, like immediately flew in, separated us with tables. They put tables between both of us like that, like just like moved tables like that, kicked them all out, and then we were still in there. We're like sick. Like, these guys are gone, and now we can just continue our night. And I still had a beer and I was drinking it, and then someone else was like, "Can I get a beer?" They're like, "No, you can't go anywhere. You got to stay here." And then, so we were there for like 20 minutes, and then they kicked us out. But so we couldn't
Just to separate the groups.
couldn't fight on the street.
That is smart.
And then by the time we got out, but we were like, we thought we'd won. We're like, yeah, they're gone. Fuck them. We're gonna like stay here and drink. And then no, they kicked us out as well, but staggered us out. And then by then it's like all the adrenaline's over and stuff, and you're just like, oh, okay, fuck, what are we gonna do now?
now your head hurts.
Yeah, starting to sink in.
That's amazing.
It was pretty cool. Like it was impressive. Like just push tables like that, roll 4 tables, split everyone, and then just staggered them out. They all went, and then 20 minutes later, I had a beer, so I was like, chill. I was just drinking. But everyone else was like, can I get a fucking drink? And they're like, no. And they're like, well, he's got one. Yeah. And I was like, he had it before.
Far out. That's a good system. Did you ever do I remember the gig I did, I remember, it's one of, those ones that really vividly stick in your memory. I think Darren Sanders was running it briefly when the Laugh Garage had closed, I think. But it was literally like how sometimes it's a couple of crates or something small. It was literally like, those Shep pallets.
Yeah.
That they'd put one of them down and a bit of like, must have been like, just fiberboard on top of it, particle board on top of it. Like, so literally maybe 4.5 inches elevated above the audience, and they're just sitting in place. And so then like this group came in, and I remember like there was maybe 9 people there, and 5 of them from one family, and the dad took umbrage with something I said like earlier. You know how controversial I am. So I'm hosting, so I just opened up, just starting to bit. He got upset with something I'd said, like I think, and just walked out. And then so the rest of them got up and walked down. And I'm like, in the first few minutes. But then the rest of the family come back and apologised for him leaving. Like it was the weirdest gig I think I've ever done.
Yeah, I think I did a night at Starbar once where there was like, I think 5 people, and I walked 2 of them, and it really bothered me. Like early on, I was like, they left, like they walked out.
Did they walk out? See, this is the thing. Like
that's a $25 ticket or whatever, and they're still like, no, I gotta go. I can't fucking sit through here for this. I was like, what do I do? Do you think they were offended, or do you think they were just disappointed? Because I think the disappointed walkout's worse. Yeah, I don't know. I just remember driving around like Ebenezer, just being like, fuck. Like it just. It's probably the only time I can remember. But that was like walking someone out like that. I was like, fuck this. This is like so shit.
So what's your worst gig that you can remember like that? Like
Sean Woodland was at it, I think. I did a Oatly boat shed, and I was doing the feature. Maybe a bit too early to be doing it, but
20 minutes.
20 minutes. I probably had maximum with 20 minutes of just things, probably 10 minutes of stuff that kind of worked.
And that wasn't an easy room either.
No, and Woodland was actually my albatross for many years, because do you know what the albatross is? The albatross is like someone that whenever they're at a gig, you just die. Like they just hang around your neck and you just can't shake them.
I had Mick Meredith accuse me of that recently.
Yeah.
It's
real.
Only because he he was telling me he went through phases. He goes, I think you're my new albatross,
Yeah.
which is hurt my
You can
feelings.
kill the albatross.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time.
Well, I didn't want to be his albatross because I enjoy working with Mick. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want you to dread turning up to every gig we do together. But then that night he killed, so I think
Yeah.
we're off.
Well, then he's probably got past it. But it was like Woodland, and I think he had friends there because he was living near there at the time or around there. And I just remember it went so bad, and like I could like hear from stage like, get him off, get off, like people yelling, get off. And like I wasn't even being clever or funny or back. I was just like deer in the headlights. I think I made it to 16, maybe 17 minutes of the 20, and then just walked off like complete silence. It was so fucking bad. But I did get cash that night, so that was not too. Can't complain about it. It wasn't all bad. Yeah.
That was my first. I remember doing that. You did because you used to do that and the boat shed.
Yeah.
Like as a Monday, Wednesday thing, and you get cash at both of them, but you had to sign the invoice book behind the bar, and it was just like. But if that could be a tough week if you had because both of them could be tough.
You could dread them like both. I remember I did it with Sam Taunton the week he got the job at the project, and I was like, man, you never have to do this again. You never have to do this again. Your life is like you never have to do this again.
But isn't that the beautiful thing about comedy though, that like one day you can be getting a job on TV, but then you're also just in a suburban pub having people completely indifferent to your comedy. It's like there's no one of the things I like about it is it never feels like you've actually won.
Yeah. I always say there's always a new level of embarrassment to unlock.
Yeah.
Like no matter where you go, like there'll be something new. There's always a new way to get humbled and fucking.
I think I'm up for that next week. I've agreed to do a corporate for a mate of mine's wife's company, and just.
What can you gain from that apart from money?
Money, but every instinct is telling. Like there's been a couple of since I agreed to it, just a couple of little alarm. Well, not since I agreed to it, since the first like when you're doing it as a favor for not as a favor, but like. It's someone who you don't want to see you bomb. That always is not like that. Always for me, like if there's someone I actually give a shit about in the audience, thinking that I can do comedy, that's always a bad thing. Like I'm never going to do as well. And then add that to corporate environment. Add that to immediately. It's been one of those ones where he doesn't, he's not going to offend anyone, is he? He's not going to straight away. So all the things that aren't your natural comedy environment that give you all the things in your favor are taken away, and then add that now she's going to have to go home and say to her it was her idea to get the comedian to.
It was all right, yeah, it was all right. Like, there's a lot of that, yeah.
But it was her idea to get the comedian, and so it's like, oh man, there's a lot of pressure on this. I don't want to stuff.
You will.
Oh, it's so fun. How's the company? I don't know if I should say this, but fuck it, who cares? No one from the company's going to listen to this. So when she rang me, she's like, "Oh,
the company, they kill animals."
Well, people.
They don't want anything. They don't want to mention it.
No, but she was saying, so they're owned by a big global company, like they're the Australian subsidiary. Anyway, she was saying when she went to her boss with the idea, saying this is, know this guy, he does comedy, and they'd look, and so he was like, oh, he's not going to upset anyone, is he? And she goes, because there was a notorious story is they had at one of their global functions, they had a comedian, and come on, it was a big deal, like big global conference, and the comedian was the big deal, like it was a big deal they got a comedian, and the comedian had people walk out within like 45 seconds because they were offensive.
Wow.
She goes, yeah, so the comedian, she goes, it was Jimmy Carr.
Really?
And I was like,
well, that's just bad research.
Yeah. I'm like, who's booking Jimmy Carr thinking he's not going to go hard? Like, I said, yeah. When she said, she goes, because I was, when you hear about a comedian upsetting people, like you're like, oh, who's this? I want to know. And the fact that it was Jimmy Carr, I was like, oh man, yeah. I immediately said, bit of a different style.
I quite like him, but I think because I think he's open to that, but he's had like a hair transplant, his teeth done, and Botox. He looks like a puppet that's come to life now. It's just like stiff face, like and super white teeth. I'm like, he freaks me out now. I don't like like too ghoulish.
Just like a human muppet.
Yeah, I was like watching him on some fucking show when I was in England. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, I think that could, like, that can be a slippery slope too. Too much screen time, seeing yourself on screen, can really mess with your head about how you should look. And you see people, once you go down that path too, it seems to be like they chase the dragon so hard. Like, oh, I fixed my teeth. Oh, no, but now there's bags under my eyes. Now I'll do that.
Yeah.
Do this, do that. And then before you know it, you don't look human anymore. And
Yeah, I'm fine just aging like shit.
Same. How old are you?
36.
36.
Yeah, 36.
I would have picked you probably. You don't look 36.
44.
Yeah. No, you've got the soul of like a 60-year-old, but you don't look 36. You look younger, I would have thought.
Shut up. This guy's trying to suck me off for all you listeners at home. Fucking hell.
You know it. Mate, we're getting to close to time because you've got to go to a gig.
I do, yeah.
Before we go, though, you have an awesome podcast.
Prove it.
So, Mug Off.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
Pretty much from doing Melbourne and just being so beaten down by it all. And then I was like, I got to do something. And I had the idea. I was like, it'd be a funny idea to have a podcast where you just talk about times you've been fucked over. And then, like, what did you do about it or whatever? So I was like, that's a funny idea. And I always loved Yaz, who was a bartender at the store. I was like, this guy's one of the funniest guys. He's funnier than, he was a bartender there, but it was like, he's funnier than
everyone.
99% of comedians that come through here. And I was just like, I'd love to do something with this guy one day. And then we just did. And then we recorded it. And then it was like good, but it was just something like just missing. And then we added Cameron and it just kind of fit. And then, yeah, it's been going good. Pay some of my rent now.
Nice.
Does well, you know. It's like, you know, I'm happy with it.
That's super successful podcast.
Yeah.
If you're paying part of rent or.
Yeah, we got employees and they get paid well and like it's good, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Mug Off. Where else can people find you? And are you going to be are you doing shows at any festivals or anything coming up in the next bit, or are you just?
I'll be chilling, but you follow on it's a Gerard M comedy. I'm putting up clips and shit, and like, you know, check that shit out. Follow me on the gram. I love the gram. I'm not on any of the other ones. I really like it. But yeah, Instagram Gerard M comedy.
Beautiful.
Check it out. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks for doing it, mate.
Cheers, brother. Cheers.